9. This is First Alert Weather Now.
And thanks for joining us here on First Alert Weather Now. It's your nightly look at your First Alert forecast in depth, as well as so much more stuff. But tonight, we're going to focus a lot on the severe weather threat we face over the next few hours here in eastern Iowa. I'm meteorologist Corey Thompson.
I'm meteorologist Rickman. And tonight we are, like Corey said, going to take a deep dive into what exactly we can be concerned with in terms of timing, impacts, how and when it will affect your neighborhood specifically. And then we'll also talk about a little bit of why it's happening, what's causing these storms to form tonight.
Yeah, exactly. And if there are any new warnings or any new information, we'll obviously have that during this time as well. But first, what you need to know as you step outside this evening, if you are choosing to step outside, is that chance for some showers and storms. Severe thunderstorm watch continues for the counties here highlighted in pink. That goes until 10 o'clock. No other watches in effect, at least as of the time of this airing, but that may change as we go through the evening. Of course, we'll bring you the latest as we know it. Here's a wide view of pinpoint Doppler radar where you can see different clusters of storms, but they are currently fairly widely scattered. A couple of severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for parts of Iowa. Here in the TV9 viewing area, it includes portions of northern Winneshiek County until 6:45. That's where a storm that contains penny-sized hail as well as 60-mile-per-hour winds are moving through just past the Bluffton area and into rural areas of northern Winneshiek County east of Highway 52. And that is progressing off to the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. It's another storm near Mason City that also has a severe thunderstorm warning associated with it. Similar sorts of threats, quarter-sized hail as well as 60-mile-per-hour winds, and then additional storms lining up down to the south along Interstate 35. These are also moving at about 35 miles per hour and continue sweeping to the east. A slight risk for severe weather is included here across a good portion of the TV9 viewing area. And a little more in-depth look at why and when exactly this is all taking place is coming from meteorologist Rickman right now.
Thanks so much, Corey. Well, the first thing that you need to know in terms of what we can expect with this storm threat tonight is that we are going to be dealing with that threat for damaging wind, some large hail, and some tornadoes initially. Now, there's that isolated threat for tornadoes. There's your specific breakdown of each threat. High wind will be a concern for a good portion of the night. These storms, when they initially form, when they first form and they're those individual isolated storms, that's when we have the best chance for them producing that large hail and that isolated tornado threat. That's why you're seeing the highest risk for hail and tornadoes farther up in the northwest parts of eastern Iowa. As these storms continue to track off to the east and then later on to the southeast, they're going to start to form into more of a big consistent line. When that happens, the tornado threat will go down a little bit as well as the large hail threat, but we still can't rule them out entirely. However, when they form into that line, that's when we're going to see that high wind threat really take over as the predominant threat. Again, not totally ruling out that large hail and tornado threat as we go through the night. Now, as we have a look at the timing for this, we're going to be seeing that those storms will be tracking into the northwest parts of our viewing area between now and about 7 p.m. We've already seen some warnings there. They'll continue to track into the more central part of our viewing area as we go into the 7 to 11 o'clock hour. Beyond 11 p.m. and then into the 3 a.m. hour, we're going to be seeing these storms weaken just a little bit, but then they're going to be tracking south and out of our area by the time we get to Friday. Now, it's been warm and it's been quite humid today. That's allowed a lot of instability and a lot of moisture to build up, and that's what these storms are feeding off of. So that's why it was so warm, or the warm and humid air is fueling these storms, and as a cold front pushes through, that's what's helping to push that warm and moist air up and produce those thunderstorms. So we will, like Corey mentioned, update you with any new warnings that come out, but in the meantime, do be weather aware as we go through our evening.
Well, as we've been mentioning all week long, a lot of stuff coming up this weekend as we turn the page to autumn. Let us begin with our forecast for fun, and we begin with the next few days. We have, again, some shower chances this evening. We're dry Friday, but we bring some back in as we head through our Saturday afternoon and a soggy and cooler day for Sunday if you're going to be out and about. Friday night lights, let's back up a page here. Looking great for Friday night. Our game of the week, 7 o'clock, City High at Iowa City West. Kickoff temperature in the upper 70s, a few clouds. Hey, we're getting ready for fall, and let's dive right in with Iowa Fall Festival. 80s for the day tomorrow. Late evening showers, but really more so looking to be a better chance for Saturday afternoon, and then scattered showers cooler for Sunday. Downtown Farmers Market in Cedar Rapids, that starts at 7:30. Food, entertainment, entertainment, 200 vendors. We'll take a peek at the 10 o'clock temperature. Should be dry, but we bring in that chance of showers and thunderstorms for later in the afternoon. A lot of football as we go through it in chronological order. The first one up, Jack Trice Stadium in Ames, as we deal with some scattered showers. It's that rain in Ames that moves our way through the afternoon. It's at Ames first. We'll look for some off and on showers, 81. It's the night game, Iowa up in Minnesota, 79. The tailgate kickoff, 70. 67 for the end of the game. That one kicks off just after 6:30. And then 11 o'clock Iowa time, the Panthers heading to Hawaii. Beautiful weather in Honolulu. They'll look for a great tailgate weather. Plenty of pineapple and clear sky. 81 for the kickoff, 75 for the end of the game. That is your forecast for fun. We'll have as much fun as we can and check them in tomorrow and see how much these might have changed and any more fun things we can find. Guys?
Still tracking that severe weather threat here in eastern Iowa, and that is highlighted here on your first alert. The possibility of some of those strong to severe storms is what we're most concerned about over the next several hours. That continues into the early morning hours of your Friday, but then tapers off really quickly. And most of Friday should be spent once again quiet and warm. Severe thunderstorm watch continues for the areas highlighted in pink until 10 o'clock. Charles City, Decorah points to the north and west, does extend into central Iowa too. No watch to the south of this at this point. Storms have been scattered enough and not severe, at least to this point, but we could see those continue to increase in their number and increase in intensity at least for a few more hours here in eastern Iowa. So here's where we stand on pinpoint Doppler radar. You can kind of pick out where the cold front is. This little very thin line of what shows up here on radar as what we call reflectivity is where that wind shift is, and you can see a few storms really blossoming just north of the Ames area, just near Iowa Falls too. Mason City getting that stronger storm, or at least very close to it. Waterloo and points to the northeast just near Fayette. Also a few of those heavier downpours, and the strongest storm right now north of Decorah. Here's a view of it live on our city cam. It doesn't look quite as ominous as it did earlier, just about half an hour ago as it was approaching, because the worst of the storm is going to stay north of the Decorah area. Still though, a little bit of cooler wind moved out from that and moved through the city, so you probably felt those gusts if you live up there within the last 10 to 15 minutes. Temperatures are in the 80s, still 81 officially in Decorah, 88 in Iowa City, 87 in Cedar Rapids. Dew points well into the 60s for most of us. Dubuque and Iowa City showing a little of dryness there, but many areas feeling muggier than that. That slight risk for severe weather extends across central Iowa into eastern Iowa. This will probably be updated as we go through the evening, but as we stand right now, damaging wind and large hail, as AJ just pointed out, are the threats that we're facing. So timing in terms of when these storms are moving through. You can see here at about 7 o'clock, we're talking about a cluster of storms in our northwest zone. That initial push of storm activity entering southwest Wisconsin around the latter portion of that hour. Now by 8 o'clock, it's still spreading to the southeast at that 35-mile-per-hour pace, so it's not overly fast. We sometimes see these severe storms moving 50, 60 miles per hour. That kind of owes to the ingredients that we have. Yeah, there is support at the upper levels from the jet stream that we have to cause these storms to organize into stronger ones, but not the most intense jet stream support that we've seen here in eastern Iowa. Now by 10 o'clock, near Grinnell, Tama, Cedar Rapids kind of getting involved as well. Manchester and Dubuque spreading to the southeast slowly from there. So by 11 or midnight, we're talking more toward the Iowa City area. Maquoketa starting to see some of those storms. Continue sagging to the southeast. Some heavier rainfall is possible as they do, and probably by midnight or 1 o'clock, we're talking about not severe weather as they exit the area, but still potentially heavy rainfall and plenty of lightning. Now tonight, temperatures will be dropping down into the upper 50s to mid 60s. Storms coming to an end. Tomorrow, dry, so nothing to worry about for your Friday other than the warmth. 88 degrees in Waterloo, 87 in Washington. Winds will be light out of the north, probably shifting to the west as we go through the day, so keeping it fairly light there indeed. Now as we head toward the weekend, there is that chance for more showers and storms, especially Saturday into Sunday. We're not that concerned about severe weather with this round, but the potential for some heavier rain is there. Over the next several days, we're talking amounts that could reach in that 1 to 2 inch range. So we're still looking at that potentially wet weather. And we're still looking at warm weather too as we head toward the start of the month of October. Looks like the longer term trends favor that to continue. And even though we do see temperatures turn cooler within our 9-day forecast, that change will not be enough to drive us below normal. By the time we get there, it'll actually be near or still just above normal for that time of year.
And that is kind of a testament just to how warm it has been for the last couple of days. I mean, today had a couple spots hit 90. It's the middle of September. It's a little, I mean, it's very, very warm compared to where we should be at this time of year.
Yeah, about 15 degrees above average or so, give or take a little bit, depending on where you're at. And so let's apply that to the middle of summer. If it were July, it would probably be 98, 99 degrees.
Right.
So it could be worse, but for this time of year, it certainly is warm.
Absolutely, not bad at all. And the rain's been nice as well. And that's something that has an impact on crops. So to have a look at what's going on with the crops out there across Iowa, we do have Justin Roberts checking in with your Grower's Guide.
Our Grower's Guide last week, we featured a conversation with Andy Peters from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network talking about what farmers have been hoping for in the fields. Moisture, that's how you boil it down. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's talk temperatures. In September, we normally get a handful of days in the 70s and a few in the 80s, but we have been spoiled. Our average high, normally 79 when we start the month, and we end it 69, normal low in the 50s. Here's how we've done it so far. We've actually been in the 80s, a 5.5, almost 6 degree temperature swing in the warmer category this past month. High temperatures look like this as we look back in history. That's where it really got warm around the 10th, and that's where we've stayed. We'll do it again today, tomorrow, and add more numbers to it. Now, one of the things that hasn't been kind of a change for us as we look at some of those differences in high temperatures, moisture. Here comes another precipitation graphic. We're below normal. We're going to change that hopefully as we head through the next 5 to 7 days. About 2.1 inches of rain below normal in Cedar Rapids, 2.3 in Dubuque, and just under 2 inches below normal in Waterloo. Now, a lot of zeros coming up on this graphic. This is how much rain we have observed across eastern Iowa. As you can see, pretty quiet conditions. But the good news is this: we look to turn it around over the next 7 days as soon as those showers that we're talking about this evening into the overnight come to us. And we'll look for more Saturday on into Sunday and Monday. That is our Grower's Guide. We do this every Thursday. We invite you to tag along with us and talk about what's happening in your field or your garden. We'll send it back to you guys.
Thanks, Justin. Well, as we have a look at our next 9, he's right. We're seeing something we haven't seen for more than the first half of September, really, and that's rain. But before we get there, we do have Friday night. We have our Friday Night Lights game of the week. Weather looks good for it. We're going to be dry. It's going to be a little bit warm as well. During the day, we'll get up into the upper 80s once again. At kickoff, when we have City High facing Iowa City West, we'll have a few clouds, 77 degrees, 71 in the fourth quarter. That game does start at 7 p.m. We'll be covering it on Channel 9.2. As we have a look at the weekend, we have Coach for Kids, our fundraiser that kicks off on Saturday. Autumnal Equinox, the official start of fall, that is on Sunday, and it's going to be a good bit of a temperature drop. It'll feel just a little bit like fall. We're going to have some rain, and that's going to be part of what is a more active weather pattern. I know Justin showed you this graphic just a minute ago, and he's right. We're going to be seeing quite a bit of rainfall. If you're concerned about not getting enough rain tonight, not to worry. You do have plenty more opportunity over the next 7 days to see another shot at some rain. We're going to be seeing some cooler weather as well. You'll see that reflected in our 9-day forecast. Look at this. Temperatures do drop into the 70s. Corey did mention, though, that it's not going to be enough to get us much below average. Our temperatures are going to drop close to average, but still just right there close to it and then sneaking just a little bit above average. Our temperatures will stay consistent, but we are going to be seeing that normally our highs will be getting cooler as we get into the later months of September. So with those temperatures staying consistent in the 70s, well, that's why it's going to seem like it's warmer than average, because it is getting a little bit warmer than average, even though our temperatures are not changing. But still, we're finally getting a first taste of fall. Looks like this taste of fall will be here to stay for a little while, not the quick in and out thing that we had a couple weekends ago.
Yeah, and sometimes that does happen where it comes and goes pretty quickly, and that may happen again. Who knows? We could flip back in a couple of weeks to something a little bit unusually warm. Let's recap what we've got going on right now here around eastern Iowa, though. A severe thunderstorm watch continues for parts of the TV9 viewing area until 10 o'clock. That's highlighted in pink here on your screen. We're keeping things at this point mostly confined to our northern counties, which is where the risk has been highest as we've entered this day. But new showers and storms have developed outside of this area, too. Pinpoint Doppler radar shows where. A lot of lightning where storms have been taking place, and they are in several separate little clusters. I'm going to pinpoint here, AJ, and you can see just a few of those, especially that one in northern Winnebago County, offering the strongest outcome right now.
Absolutely, yeah. We are seeing that new development, and it would not surprise me if we do see some new warnings as we go through the rest of our evening. So do make sure that you're staying weather aware, have your KCRG app on hand, and then if you're watching TV, keep it on Channel 9. We'll cut in as needed if we do have any warnings that impact the TV9 viewing area.
Certainly does look like a mean storm that's now exiting northern Winneshiek County here and moving into northern Alameda County. It's about to cross over into southern Minnesota, so we'll be out of our neck of the woods here in just a little bit. This warning just ran out of time as 6:45 came by. Looks like the National Weather Service decided to let it go, saying that it has weakened below severe limits, and so they're going to keep that at least without a warning now that we have just about crossed 6:45 in about 10 seconds here. Elsewhere around the TV9 viewing area, we'll pinpoint a couple of areas before we let you go here this evening. One little small cluster here near Fayette, and that is at this point not severe. Certainly heavy downpours moving into the Fayette area between Olwine and Fayette, westward between Olwine and Waverly too along Highway 3. And then a few more off here to the west as we take a look here in central Iowa. That storm north of Ames, the strongest now, Iowa Falls, seeing a little bit of heavy rain moving in too. And remember, these all at the very least include a decent amount of lightning. And so if you find yourself in the area where storms are moving through, at the very least, get inside until that lightning passes. And if there's a severe thunderstorm warning, you should probably do a little more than that.
Absolutely, yeah. If we do have a severe thunderstorm warning, make sure you go inside. Stay away from any windows in the event that there is any large hail or damaging winds. And make sure that you stay inside until the warning is over or the storm has passed. And like I said, we'll keep you updated on that as necessary with cut-ins. And then you can always stay up to date with the KCRG weather app and then Facebook as well.
Yeah, for sure. That's our commitment to you as your trusted local news and weather source. And thanks for joining us here on this somewhat extended version of First Alert Weather Now. We'll be back again tomorrow night on a much quieter night, and we hope you have a good night.